Shelly and Tammy are coming into town Wednesday. They have a wedding on Sunday. You just texted me, are we gonna be around?
Well, we're going to go out for our anniversary. You want to go out?
Hello there, Harold.
Hello, there. How's Hong Kong doing?
It's good. Good. It's very, very windy and very cold.
Oh, windy?
Windy and cold.
Oh
It's like
God.
a storm brewing.
You took a sweater?
Sorry, I took a coat. Never
You took
mind
a
sweater.
sweater?
No, coat.
Oh,
Tell me something. What's the name of the new restaurant in your area?
Le Carve. Oh, in our area? I mean, it's Pat's. You mean the one that's in Pat's?
No, on the other side of town.
There's a new
Your
one?
side. Yeah. No?
Not that I know of.
Is there one on our side?
Yeah, the guy who took over Pat's, he opened up under a different name, Le Carve.
But it's in the same location as Pat's?
Yeah, same as Pat's. Yeah,
La Car.
yeah, Le Carve,
Ah,
like carving a piece of meat.
La Car.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. Good
Oh,
morning.
where are you?
Okay, we are on Chaf Ches, 28. Rava Amar Hava Av Rabban. We have two barisas. One said that if you sprinkle it towards we're talking about the paraduma blood, towards the OL Moed, it works, and another one says it doesn't work. Hadakoi Mizrach Umarvad, if you're standing in the east and throwing it towards the rest, that's enough. Because that's the structure, that's where the Kodesh Kadoshim is. Hadakoi Vitzof V'Doram. I solved the problem, Nikki. Thank you. No problem. Thank you. Bye-bye. How to quite suffer with our body, but if you're north-south, that would be that brisa would exclude it from working because that's not the normal direction. The sprinklings for the mitzora, if you did it shalol lishmam psulos, shalom mechuvanos ksheros. If you didn't do it in the exact direction towards the Ol Moed, it's okay. No matter what, whether it's shalol lishma or not in the right direction, it's okay. Rav Yosef loikasha Rabbi Eliezer harabana. Rabbi Eliezer makish adam asham lachatas. He compares the asham to a chatas. A chatas, if you offer it shalol lishma, it's invalid. So therefore, he says an asham is also invalid. So makish nami log la asham. So the log of the oil that is put on the mitzvah as part of the asham. So it's disqualified as well if you do it shalol lishma. But Rabbanan lo makshi. The Rabbanan do not make a hekesh between the chatas and the asham regarding that din. And therefore they hold that if you do the asham shalol lishma, it's kosher. Now, how can Rabbi Eliezer learn a double hekesh like that? We know by kochim it doesn't work. So Elohim Rava gives a different teretz as to why one brisa by the Mitzorah says Shalom Lishmon is psulos. The other brisa says it's okay. Both of Rabbana. Kan lahachshir. Is the korban kosher to eat? So since the Rabbanan hold that if you offer an asham, shalol lishma, it's okay. That's the one that says it's kosher to eat. Kan lahartzos. But does the person get atonement? No, because it wasn't done. Lishma. Mishnah. Shiva K'nei menorah. The menorah had seven branches. Makvin zed zeh. You can't have 6 or 5 or 8. You have to have exactly 7. Shiva nerosea. The lamps on top of the branches that where you put the oil in, and the wicks in Makvin zed zeh. You need 7 lamps. Shtei parshas mezuzah makvin zuetzu. There are 2 parshas written in the mezuzah, Shema and Vayam Shemoah. Not only that, if you look savechad makvin, even one letter that hasn't been written properly makes it possible. Arba parshas shebetfilim makvin zed. We have 4 parshas. We add the kadesh li kol b'chor v'haya kiviyacha for tefillin, and if you look savechad makvin, even one letter is missing. Arba tzit, and you can see because we have the dinim of writing a Sefer Torah and Tefillin and Mezuzah in Masechta Menachos. Now we understand this Mishnah is going to be the forerunner of all those halachas. It starts with Shiva K'nei Menorah, but it ends going to Mezuzahs and Tefillin, and that's why Menachos is the source of those halachas. Arba tzitzios makvat zu et zu. You need 4 tzitzis, and arboson mitzvachas. It's 1 mitzvah. If you only have 3 tzitzis, you didn't do anything. But Rabbi Shmuel, arboson arba mitzvahs. He differs. He says you're makayim 4 mitzvahs every time you wear tzitzis, and therefore, if you wore tzitzis with 3 fringes, you'd have 3 mitzvahs. Now, my time, why do you need the 7 branches of the menorah? Because it says yiyu. It says havoya ksiv buhu. Ton Rabbanan menorah isabah mina eshes. It came from a single block of gold, right? Min azov. Asah min agrutos. If you made it out of pieces of gold psula. Now, if you made it mishar minei matches, if you made the menorah out of other metals, even scraps, that would be kshem. Ma'ishlam min agrutos psula. So how come if it's gold and it's scraps, it's puzzle to chsiv miksha? Miksha means it's 1 block, and the havaya, it's got vu, so it's liikuva. Sharmine matchus nami v'zav havaya. It says it has to be gold, and it says yiyu. How can you say that regular metal would be okay? Amarkra tease. The menorah can be made out of anything. L'rabo sharmine matchus, to include other metals. Maybe it comes to say you can use even golden pieces. Lo sakadaitach. Because when it says miksha, 1 block, it's written yiyu, and therefore it's likuva. Well, the Gemara says teasa nami a miksha ksiv. When it says teasa, it says miksha, and that should say that you just learned teasa could be made of pieces, so that could also say that a menorah could work with pieces. So the Gemara says, no, miksha la'akev. So miksha means 1 piece, it can't count once it's gold. Well, zav nami la'akev. It says twice zav. How can you say, and normally we've learned when the Torah repeats something, it's la'akev, so how can you say that other metals would work? So the Gemara says, "Hi, my." If you're going to say that pieces make it possible, but but other metals it's okay. Hainu zav miksha lidrasha, because those duplicates are used for a drasha, which we're going to learn. But if you're going to say that even gold pieces, it would be okay. But if it comes mishar minei matchos psula, zav miksha my darshpe. Now what's this drasha? My drasha, the Tanya. Kikar zav tor yaseh osa. The menorah has to be made of pure gold. Es kol kelima ele. Ba'azav ba'kikar. So it teaches us that if you're going to make it out of gold, it's got to come out of one piece. Ain't a ba'azav, but if you make it out of another thing, ain't a ba'kikar, then it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to weigh that amount. It can weigh less. Then it says, Gviyah kaftareh prachah. The gviyah is the base, the kaftareh are the branches, prachah are the like flowers and various decorations. Ba'azav, if it's made out of gold, then you need ba'gvim kaftareh mufrachim. Ain't a ba'azav, ain't a ba'gvim kaftareh. Then you don't need all of those. If it's not gold, it doesn't need all of that. Ve'emanami ba'azav ba'kanim. What about the branches? How come he didn't say the branches? Ain't a ba'azav, ain't a ba'kanim. So hahu pomot mikri. If it's just not multiple branches, then it's a candlestick. It's not a menorah. V'zeh masem nera miksha zahav, ba'azav ba'miksha. The drasha is if it's gold, it's got to come from one piece. Ain't a ba'azav. If it's from other metals, ain't a ba'miksha, then it can be made from pieces. Miksha de sefer l'mayasa. So there's one more miksha mentioned in the psukim. L'mu'ute chatzoitzros. To say that the chatzoitzros of Moshe did not have to be made out of a single block. So it's miksha he. The limud is only the menorah has to be miksha, not the chatzoitzros. The Tanya. Chatzoitzros hayu boy mina eshes mina kesef. The chatzoitzros came from a block and they were made out of silver, but asamina grutos ksheri. If you made them out of silver pieces, it was kosher. But mishar minei matcho is psulim. It's got to be silver, otherwise it's possible. Why other metals is possible for the chatzoitzros? The chsiv kesef v'havai. It says yiyu, v'ayu. So the havaya and kesef means it's got to be silver. Well, minagrutos nami, miksha v'havaya, it says that has to be one block. So maybe that should be li'ikuva. No, because miyat rachmana gabi menorah, miksha he v'lo chatzoitzros. So now we understand the second mention of miksha in the parsha of menorah has come to tell me that the menorah has to be made out of one piece. The chatzoitzros can be made out of pieces. And now we're going to have another Bryce about the chatzoitzros. Torah kol hakelim she'asa Moshe ksherim lo ksherim ledoros. All the various kelim that Moshe made, he made the menorah, he made the aron, he made the shulchan, he made everything. They were used generations. Chatzoitzros ksheris lo upsulos ledoros. The chatzoitzros were hidden away while Moshe was alive and was never used again. It was only for Moshe's time. Chatzoitzros my time. Huh? Why? Because it says to Moshe, make for you. It says vasisu lecha aron eitz. Does that mean the aron also wasn't for l'doros? So rather we need a different drasha. Ella ilaman domer lecha mishalcha. Maybe the lecha he had to pay for it from his own money. And ilaman domer kivyachol b'shalchani roitza yosem mishalahem. It was a notion that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was telling Moshe, I prefer what you make than what they make. And therefore, you can take the money from the Chatzi Machzis HaShekel. It was Tzibur Dika money. But I'll consider it as if it's yours. So the Lacha would be needed for this drashas. But not that it's only to be used during Moshe Rabbeinu's life. So the Gemara says, Shiny Hasam, Damar Krat Lecha Trei Zimni, and Asay Lecha Vayu Lecha. So that's the repetition to say that the Chatzoitzros only existed during the time of Moshe Rabbeinu. Tani Rav Papa Drev Chanin Kamed Rav Yosef. Menorah Sabah Mina Eshes. It came from a block, Min Azov, from gold. Yet a social kesef kshera. If it was made out of silver, it's okay. But if it was made out of shell bots, tin, v'shel aver, lead, v'shel gistron, which is some kind of combination of metals, Rebbe Puzzle. But Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda Machshir. Now, shel eitz, it was made out of wood, v'shel etzem, or bone, v'shel schuchis, or glass, so they divra kol psul. So these are the dinim. Amerle. What's the machlokes here? My daitcha. How do you explain the machlokes? So Rav Papa answered, Amerle. Bein mar ubein mar. Klale uprate darshi. They learn klal uprat. Miu mar savar ma prat mefur shel mateches av kol shel mateches. Rabbi Yossi says, just like zav is a metal, so any metal. Umar savar ma prat mefur davar chashuv. It's got to be important. Av kol davar chashuv. So that's why that other mandomer learned silver is okay, because silver is a davar chashuv, but the other ones are not. I'll give you a different shot. The Tanya. If you made any kli out of wood, Rabbi Poisel, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda Machshir, the Maikam Miflagi, Rabbi Darsh Klali Uprati, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda Darshi Ribu Umiud, Rabbi Darshi Klali Uprati. It says Vasitza Menoiros Klal. Zohav Tor Prat. That's the detail. Miksha Teasa Menoira Chazav Klal. Klal Upratu Klal. Iatadan Elakena Prat. Ma Prat Mefushal Mateches. The details metal of Koshal Mateches. So it's not just gold, it's any metal. And based on the menorah, it's also for all of the other kelim. And therefore you can use metal for other kelim. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda Darsh Ribu Miut. V'asisa Menoiras Riba. Zov Tar Miet. Limitation. Gold. Miksha Teasa Menoira Chazav Riba. Riba Umiet V'riba Akol. It virtually includes everything. My Rabbi Kol Mili. Including wood. Umay Miet Shel Cheres. The only thing that was excluded is like clay. So according Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda says that a menorah made out of eitz would be okay. I like my beraisa. So Rabbi Yossi says lo sakidak, the Tanya. Ein lo zav. If there's no gold and you have to make a menorah, maybe afshal kesef shal nechosesh. You can use copper, you can use silver. You can use shel barzel, iron, v'shel bdil, which is tin, shel ferrous, lead. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda Machshir, af b'shalates, they say even wood. So you see, the second price is correct. V'tanya idich, lo yasa odem bayis tabni seichel. When you built your house, you couldn't build it in the same manner, the way it looked like the heichel. For example, aksandra keneged ulam. You're building an outside patio, it shouldn't look like the ulam. Chatzar keneged azara. Your courtyard shouldn't look like the azara. Your private shulchan shouldn't look keneged shulchan in the Beis Hamikdash. Your menorah shouldn't look keneged menorah. Aval osehu, you can make a menorah shel chamisha v'shel shisha v'shel shmona. 5, 6, 8 branches, you can do that. Because it's not made out of 7 like the Beis Hamikdash. You might think, well, I'll have a 7-branched menorah, but made out of another metal. You can't do that either. Rabbi Yosef, you shouldn't build a copy of the menorah, even made out of wood, at your home. When the Chashmonoim kicked the Greeks out of the Beis Hamikdash, they made a wooden menorah. Amrlo. Misham Raya, that's not a Raya. Shpurim Shel Barzel Hayu. They were actually metal. The Chipum Bates, they covered with wood to make it look, or tin, babots. Heshiru Asum Shel Kesef. They became wealthier they made it out of silver. Chazru v'ashiru asram shel zahav. Then they made it from gold. So all these prices say that Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda hold that eighths wood is okay. Amar Shmuel Mishmei Sabo. Now, we're going to get the dimensions of the menorah. Gova shel menorah, the whole thing was Shmona Asar Tfachim, 18 Tfachim. A tefach is let's say 3.5 inches. So 18 times 3 is 54. So 50, almost 4.5 feet was the height of the menorah. And we break it down. Haraglayim, up to the perach, up to the first flower, that was shlosha tfachim. Then it was smooth, tfachayim chalak. Then the tefach shabo gvia v'kaftar ferach. Then there was a triplet of a gvia kaftar perach. Utfachayim chalak. Then the next 2 tfachim up, smooth. So that's 8 tfachim so far. Then there was another kaftor, like a button, tefach kaftor. And then shnei kanim, from that kaftor there were 2 branches. And then echad elech v'echad elech, going on either side, the most outside branches. V'nimshachim v'oilin, keneged goyver shel menorah. And then they go to the top, the tefach cholak, and then up to the next button was a tefa, the tefach kaftor, another button. And from that second button, 2 other branches make a V. Echad elech v'echad elech until the top. Nimshach v'olim keneged goyver shel menorah. The tefach cholak. Then you had a smooth area. And then you had the final kaftor. Ushnei karim yotz mimena. Then you had the final V-shaped branches. And then you had the tefach cholak. Then you had a tefach space. Then you had another button. The tefach kaftor. Ushnei karim yotz, right? Echad elech v'echad elech. Utfachayim cholak. Then above the final V was 2 tefachs cholak. Nishtaim shloisha tfachim, and then you had in that air going up, gvin kaftar v'ferach going upwards. You have 8 tfachim, 18 tfachim. Ugvin l'mayim doimin. What is a gvin like? Kimin koisos Alexandrian, like an Alexandrian cup. Kaftar l'mayim doimer kimin tapuchi hakartaim, like certain type of apple. Prachim l'mayim doimin kimin pircha amudim, like flowers that you would see in pillars. So if you count it all up, there were 22 gviin, kaftor machadasar, 11 kaftors. Prachim tisha, there were 9 flowers. And you needed all of this, because gviin makvin zed zeh, kaftor makvin zed zeh, prachim makvin zed zeh. Each are ma'akev, you got to have the full amount. Gvim, kaftor, u'prachim, and then when you had to put them together, that was an ikuv. Makvin zed zeh. I understand the gvim were 22. D'chsiv uvam noira arba'a gviim. So that in the middle there were 4 gviim, and then it says shlosha gviim mishugadim b'kaneh echad kaftor v'ferach. That means there were 3 gviim that covered each branch. And then arba dida, and then you had its own, the center one had its own 4, and you have the tamni sreg dekonim, and you have, each of the 6 branches had 3 gvim, that's 18. So you end up with esrim v'tartin, you have 22. We'll go through this tomorrow as well. Okay. So tomorrow is regular day. So
Yeah, 7 and 8.
tomorrow would be 7 daf and 8 o'clock the tzurba.
Well, right. That I would wonder how much it weighed. That Zahav Tahor, how much the whole thing weighed. Can imagine
Probably very heavy.
or how much is worth today. But I mean, they must have melted a lot of gold together to get one piece of gold. They didn't just. It wasn't just one piece of gold. You can't.
Yes, it was one piece of gold.
No. There's no such thing. Only trust me.
That's a nace in the Beis Hamikdash. That's the nace. The menorah was made from one piece of gold.
I understand, but the one,
The source, they melted
the
a lot.
gold, it was one piece.
Oh, you're
of
saying they
gold.
didn't mine it as one.
One piece of gold. It melted as one piece of gold, and then they hewed it out from the one piece of gold. Impossible to mine that. And I'm not saying it's not a nace, but they hewed it out of. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, saying Hanami. The goldsmith delivered to them a block of gold,
All right.
which they fashioned out the menorah.
Okay.
But that's a big block. Remember how? Think about how wide and big it has to be.
Okay. We got to go. Bye. Take care.
All right. See you tomorrow.